right, many thanks, Timothy Yusuf, for that background report. And to bring in our conversation, to begin our conversation, I'd like to introduce here in the studio the Honorable Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Mukhtar Maiha. A pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria again.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigeria. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. We have also been joined here in the studio by Dr. Sanusi Abubakar, who is the National Coordinator, Livestock Productivity and Resilience Support Project, LPRES. Thank you for joining us on Good Morning Nigeria.
Good morning and nice talk. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. And also joining us here in the studio is Dr. Ilyasu Gashimbaki. He's the co-founder Abbey's Group. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's begin this conversation. Let me begin by asking the Honorable Minister, where we are now. I mean, we've had this now for a couple of years, thereabout. What is the Ministry of Livestock intended to accomplish by its separation from the Ministry of Agri, and how far have we come with it?
Thank you. Precisely, the ministry was created on 9th July 2004, and that precisely just about 1 year and so a few months. However, if you look at the policy statements of the current government in creating this ministry, is more than just an administrative alignment. The ministry is coming for the first time in 64 years of our independence. And that is to say that in the past 64 years, nobody gave, a considered view about the volume and value and the role livestock plays in a national economy, like Nigeria. Therefore, the creation of the ministry is intended to bring to mainstream the livestock sector. By mainstreaming, to bring it from the informal sector into the formal sector. You realize, for instance, if you look at the statistics, about 50-something million heads of cattle, 124 million goats, 70 million sheep, 9.3 million pigs, almost 500 million poultry sector, about 410,000 donkeys, and about 1,200,000 camels in the country. Also look at the volume and value of cultivated pasture. Look at also animal disease, health and disease management. It's a whole ecosystem that has been out of the formal sector. And that is to say that all the transactions today that happen in the livestock sector are outside the main financial capital. And it's very few that is being captured. Therefore, this is intended to modernize the livestock sector into a highly resilient, sustainable, modern and globally competitive sector, like it happens in many advanced countries or middle income level countries like Nigeria. We are not there yet. So this ministry is intended to preside over that transformation, to give that laser focused attention on making sure that the contribution of that sector to the GDP of the country goes up and up and up to rival many of the other sectors by way of diversifying the economy from a monocultural economy into agriculture, in addition to agriculture, to also have a focus on the livestock sector to make sure that millions of Nigerians that are employed there drive full benefits. And by driving full benefits, the nation also starts to benefit. How? By food, national food security. Number 2, job creation. Number 3, rural development. Number 4, the stabilization of the economy, of the rural sector from the security challenges we're having today. You'll agree with me there's a convergence between the insecurity we are facing today in the country and livestock sector. Livestock is not completely responsible, but I think there's a convergence because of the system of nomadism that we have today in the country. There are issues of cattle rustling. There are issues of also arising from farmer harder crisis. So that ministry is supposed to, there's that interdependence, there's that convergence. We will have to stabilize this sector for national prosperity. And when we say national prosperity, we are looking at all farmable animals. When we talk about food security, we're looking at all farmable animals. You start from the honeybee, you go to rabbitry, you go to pig, you go to poultry, you go to sheep, you go to goats, you go to cattle, you go to donkeys, you go to horses, and you go to camels. Every square inch in this country is endowed with one animal species or the other. So we are looking at this holistically at the national level. That is what we are transforming.
Okay, I like the fact that you're telling us your projection, and how you started and where you are now. And the livestock industry is one of the fastest growing economies in the oil sector. So we'd like you to walk us through, the presidential directives to fast track efforts of transforming grazing reserves and the establishment of ranches across the country. So how far are you working on that directive by the president this January?
Now, thank you very much. Precisely on the 9th of December, the last Federal Executive Council meeting of the outgoing year, Mr. President directed that the National Economic Council holds an emergency meeting and then listen to the livestock. The presentation will be made by Livestock Ministry to drive home what he christened national ranching policy. Now, it's coming at a time that the ministry has been established for a year, like I've given you, and we have also mined data of all the livestock infrastructures in this country, including the grazing reserves, about 417. About 332 are gazetted by the various state governments. The balance are still in the process of being gazetted. Now, that policy is now supposed to realize that directive of converting the grazing reserves into communal ranches. But again, we have also, before the presidential directive, come up with a model of a communal ranch. Now, these grazing reserves have for over the years been neglected. Many have received some form of infrastructure here and there, but there was nobody to take ownership. And that is the difference we are bringing to the table. That today we are holding very, very deep and organic consultation with the livestock sector, with all the players, particularly the smallholder, particularly the traditional migratory livestockers. We are holding conversation with them and telling them that, look, how do we move away from this unsustainable method of animal husbandry into something that is more sustainable, less conflict prone, will improve animal productivity, and then will turn those grazing reserves into economic hubs. We had conversations with them, we presented a solution, and they accepted that as long as this infrastructure, like one, the grazing reserves will be designed to accommodate all the animals that are available in that particular geolocation. We set out land for housing, land for normal crop cultivation, land for pasture development, micro earth dams for dry season irrigation, to make sure that once animals are there, they have sufficient feed and fodder to remain there permanently without the need to migrate out to greener areas. So those greener areas will be provided there. They will have schools for children, including secondary schools. They will have primary health care for their families. They will also have veterinary clinics and potable drinking water. And therefore, once these animals are residents, are domiciled in those locations, then everything will be added on. Number one, if we take, for example, the cow grazing reserve here in Buari local government, our estimation there that can hold about 30,000 heads of cattle. Imagine the amount of milk you are going to get, and those cattle will be there permanently. And therefore, if you have an intention to set up a dairy processing plant in cow grazing reserve, you are sure of security of supply of your raw material of fresh milk. If you want to set up an abattoir, and of course, in those grazing reserves, we are also going to build and encourage the youth to go into animal fattening. And therefore, the abattoirs, the abyss of this world, will also be guaranteed of security of supply of fattened bulls. Both bulls, sheep, and goat will be fattened there. That's what we are looking at. And therefore, That is what that statement is supposed to achieve for the grazing reserve. But however, remember I said that every part of this country is endowed with one form of livestock or the other. And we are not just focusing on this, because historically we have this grazing reserve. But what happens to those areas that do not have grazing reserve? But they are animal resources. They have sheep and goat, they have pigs, they have this, they have that. Of course, we work with the state governments. We are talking about life development centers. And many today have also come into the country. There's a life development center in Sokoto, there's a life development center in Gombe, there's a livestock development center in Enugu. I've visited those places. In fact, I presided over the groundbreaking ceremony of those centers. And many more are coming up. So that means that we are not just talking about grazing, we are talking about livestock development. For every locality in this country, there is something that can happen around livestock to achieve these lofty presidential ideas. Food security, job creation, rural empowerment, rural development. This is what we are talking about. You can do that with bees. You can do that with pigs. In fact, if you look at the Yandev Pig Progeny Center in Yandev, Benue State, I've been there. If you look at the Opuje Pig Progeny Center in Enugu State, I've been there. And we are also talking with some state governments like Plateau, like Kaduna, to create some of these progeny centers for piggery. So, and that means that also if you look at Benue State, if you look at Ningev in Vadeke local government, they have about 922 hectares of land for goat and sheep ranching. It's a huge area. And that center was set up by Mr. Apare Aku of blessed memory. So we are looking also at that, some of these locations all over the country, there is shared prosperity. So it's not a question of just focusing on one animal. That is the difference that Mr. President is bringing by the creation of this ministry. In fact, areas that probably people do not want to go into, actual livestock development itself, we can go into commercial pasture production. And today, we have seen people are now trading in pasture in this country. It may not be known to you because you are not part of the game. But today, people are trading in pasture. Pasture from one area are being trucked to areas where they are needed. And that is what also the ministry is encouraging, is working with businessmen to think about pasture development, pelletization, making blocks out of grasses. That is also a form of business, also part of the livestock ecosystem that we are trying to develop.
All right, Honorable Minister, before we give you your reserved breather, your deserved rather breather, how far are we from the reality of having these grazing reserves? They sound very fantastic. How far are we from the reality?
Now, when we made presentation to NEC last year, NEC set up a committee of state governors. It's already in public domain. The committee held its inaugural meeting last Wednesday. I was there. All the members of the state governors appointed were there. Now, we have started working. We have already identified criteria for selecting those states. But of course, that is for the ministry. We already have a criteria even long before the presidential directive. But what we are saying today is that that committee has been set up, and in the very, very few will now address NEC with the recommendations of that committee. However, we are not just waiting for that committee. We are also working with a number of other private sector interests who also want to lease land from those grazing reserves to come in and set up their own ranches. The private sector. The private sector doesn't require any committee. It's a business decision. Run your numbers. This is what you want to do. You come to us, we give you. Or if you want land outside the grazing reserves, we also talk to the state government. And we have a number of letters to state governments for people who want to do ranching, who want to do commercial pasture production, people who want to do large-scale goat and sheep operations. So it's already happening. At the government level, however, is taking those methodical steps to make sure that it is being realized. For us here, we know if tomorrow the funds are made available, we know exactly where our boots will be. Because we know from our criteria, these areas really deserve to serve as pilot models. What we call here today, the way we're christening Renewed Hope Livestock Villages. That's where we are going to call them. Renewed Hope Livestock Villages, where you are going to have economic hubs with hundreds of thousands of cattle, with large quantities of milk, large number of feedlots, in fact, including biogas.
That would require hectares of land.
Of course, the land is there. We have the land. We have the land. It also included biogas for generation of electricity, as well as also organic fertilizer production. This is what we are looking at.
Okay, thank you so much. There's so much. It's like Victor said, it's a fantastic idea, and you know, and Nigerians are really looking forward to a fantastic livestock sector that can, you know, drive, you know, the GDP of this country, and it's the fastest growing, you know, sector in Nigeria right now. Let's bring in our other guests into this conversation. We'll begin with Dr. Sanusi Abubakar. He's the national coordinator, L-Press. Now, I would like you to walk us through the role of L-Press, you know, which is key, of course, in building resilient and commercial livestock sector. So can you tell us about the animal health component, especially model veterinary hospitals and, of course, the clinics that I believe will enhance the livestock sector and take it to another phase indeed?
Okay, thank you very much. As you rightly said, L-Press is a livestock productivity and resilience support project. It's a World Bank project, and the animal health component of L-Press cut across three of our main components. Component one, that is institutional support and system strengthening, livestock value chain enhancement, then crisis prevention and conflict mitigation. The animal health component is subcomponent 1.3, that is support to animal health component. And currently, we have completed 7 model veterinary hospitals and 13 are ongoing.
Across the country?
Across the country. 3 were successfully commissioned by the Honorable Minister, that is the one in Sokoto, Adamawa, and Enugu. And one interesting aspect of the model veterinary hospital is units. We have 3 very important units: the X-ray unit, the e-clinic, which is the mobile clinic, then we have the ambulatory services attached to the model veterinary hospital. The X-ray unit is, we have latest X-ray machine, that is the X380 machine for our taking care of our animals. Then we have the e-clinic. The e-clinic comprises of all the list of veterinary premises across the state and the veterinary doctors across the state to give access to our livestock farmers. What you need to is we have a hotline there, that a call center that you can call, and we can now link you with veterinary clinic or veterinary hospital or services that is close to the clusters. Then also the ambulatory service is to reach destinations, very clusters that are not close to the veterinary hospitals. We take services to them, and we also try to give them the services. So currently, we have completed 7, and we have 13 that are ongoing across the country. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Let me now get to Dr. Ilyasu. A lot has been said about the livestock sector, but in your opinion, why is the sector now bankable like it wasn't before?
Okay. Let me say that now we are more focused, and the Honorable Minister has provided the leadership required to drive the sector, to mainstream the livestock sector properly. For example, before now, we didn't have the National Livestock Master Plan. And with the coming of the Honorable Minister, we had a transition from the National Livestock Transformation Plan to a master plan that now has proper critical implementation component that makes it visible for the private sector to participate. And of course, in addition to that, the minister has been very pragmatic and practical in supporting what the private sector does. ABIS in particular, our company, the company I represent, we recently, last year, launched an academy, and the minister was at the forefront of driving that. And what will that academy do? The academy is the flagship private sector institution that will drive knowledge, technology transfer, anything to do with the entire livestock sector, from primary production to processing to distribution and marketing and export. It cut across the entire gamut of the livestock sector. And of course, even L-Press, at different levels, we are now beginning to see an interface with what they are doing. Because our business as Abyss Group is contingent on feedstock. So when we do the backward integration, we have to now fall back on what L-Press is currently doing at the subnational levels in trying to create feedlots where our feedstock is going to come to feed into the mega factory.
Indeed, the Honorable Minister has talked about the public-private partnership, which that's how you're coming in. Yes. And the Abyss farm is set to open, you know, Africa's largest abattoir. So what inspired this initiative and what is the vision behind it?
Okay, the vision behind Abyss came from the founder, Ambassador Emmanuel Osman, who conceptualized the idea of transforming the livestock sector in Nigeria. But something very profound happened in Doha. When we went to visit Baladna, one of the dairy farms in Qatar, we now immediately had a commitment to Africa. We realized that what they were doing with just 24,000 herds, if you look at the statistics, if you listen to the minister very well, the statistics that he has run out is quite amazing and revealing that we have that enormous potential in Nigeria. At Baladna, they just had about 24,000 herds, and that is sufficient to provide all they need in terms of dairy needs in the entire Qatar, with a population of close to 4 million people. So there then we had a commitment to the continent, not just Nigeria. Currently we have invested in excess of $50 million. First, starting with the factory in Lagos, which has been running for the past 3 years, running to 4 years now. And then we now have a mega expansion in Abuja. Now, this is the biggest halal facility on the continent. Once it opens in next month, Honorable Minister, we are almost done. We are 99% complete. L-Press were there only last week to see for themselves the progress that we've made. And it's a facility that will process in excess of 4,000 ruminants, 1,000 cattle herds every day, and 3,000 goats and sheep. And then we have a sausage factory. Now, amazingly also, because we want to have the Nigerian-made sausage, the governor of Plateau State has committed. I don't know, I am sure everybody here is familiar with the Miangu pepe. Yes. So we are now going to infuse it into the sausage. We'll have the first Nigerian-made sausage once the factory opens. And that can happen as soon as next month.
And it's halal?
Completely halal.
All right.
Yes, the biggest on the continent.
Let me get back to L-Press. In practical terms, what has L-Press delivered so far, to livestock farmers?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me talk in practical terms. Let me consider the components. We have animal health, we have animal husbandry. In practical terms, most of the animal husbandry aspects are handled and animal production at the state level. For instance, the sedentarized pasture pilot scheme, which is like an facilities provided for the livestock farmers in clusters. We have done about 104 across our states, sedentarized. That is, we provide water, pasture, crushers, facilities. At the national, we have done a lot on animal health. We have done the model veterinary hospitals. We have done cold chain facilities across. The strategic vaccine storage facility is here in Sheda, and we are replicating about 6 across the country. We have done institutional supports to NAPRI, to NVRI. We are upscaling the vaccine production of NVRI from 120 million doses to 850 million doses annually. We have done a lot in NAPRI to support the animal production through the pasture seed multiplication center, the hay barn, the shed, and a lot of water points across NAPRI. Then also at the state, there are a lot of remodeling and building of new livestock markets. For instance, on 29th, just on Thursday, we'll be commissioning a brand new model livestock market in Adamawa State. Then we have about 10 livestock markets ongoing across our states. Then also the livestock service center that the Honorable Minister spoke about. We are building 2 under the performance-based conditions in Kano and Bauchi. We are building 5 in other locations, Taraba, Oyo, Edo, and the rest. Then also we have value chain hubs. Value chain hubs are not as big as livestock service centers, but they consider one value chain hub. For instance, if you are talking of beef, they consider beef up to the end of the value chain. We have 13 that are ongoing across our states. Number of boreholes, water points, we have a lot of infrastructure going on across the states. So what we do at the national normally is policy and the component one that is institutional support and system strengthening. Then the states handle most parts to do with livestock value chain enhancement, that is component 2, and component 3, which is crisis prevention and conflict mitigation. So in summary, these are the activities we are handling currently in LPC.
Very, very robust activities you are having, though, because from January I've been following the Honorable Minister from state to state, and you were recently in NAPRI, like you mentioned, in Shika there, and I believe there are some programs that you are initiating there. Can you walk us through some of them?
Thank you very much. NAPRI is one of the foremost livestock development research institutes we have under the ministry. Precisely, NAPRI was established in 1928. It's a long history. We have seen its golden ages. However, with the coming of the ministry, we want them to get recharged. This is the dawn of a new era, an era where we see research institutes not just for research in knowledge, they must be connected to the market, research for development. And therefore, we've had some very, very productive conversations with the Vice Chancellor and with the management of the Institute. And there is the imperative today of focusing on species development. We want NAPRI today to come up in the not too distant future with a Nigerian dairy breed cow that can rival any other cow anywhere in this world, but adaptable to the Nigerian climatic conditions. We also want a Nigerian beef breed that can be the pride of the nation and the envy of the world. We want NAPRI to go into pasture cultivation, to give us grasses that can regreen our countryside, that are disease resistant, pest resistant, drought resistant, highly nutritious, minimum 14% crude protein. Remember, at the center of the farmer had a crisis is the issue of fodder. But that once that fodder is available, that can grow in New Marte in Borno, in Bodinga in Sokoto, in Bayelsa, in Calabar, here in Plateau, all over the country. That is the species that we want. That is resilient, that of good nutritional value. That's what we are looking at. That's for the largest ruminants. For the small ruminants, we want goats, excuse me, that can be multi-purpose in terms of both meat and dairy production. The thing that people do not know is that even goats, there are dairy goats. Just like you have dairy cows, you also have dairy goats. Today, the Sanin gives you 4 liters in a day. It is here in this country. It is on my farm. A dairy goat gives you 4 liters. A Nigerian cow gives you 1.2 liters. What are you talking about? So this is the challenge we are placing before NAPRI. We want also NAPRI and every other research institute that is involved in livestock breeding to give us species that we can run with in this country. We are talking about food security. We are talking about job creation. Like the FUNAB in Ibadan has created a species of a chicken. We also know the Noila. We also know the Shika Brown. So we must focus on these flagships and make sure that they are in every rural family house in this country for egg, for meat, for rural empowerment. That's what we're talking about. Excuse me, we're talking about research that is connected to the market. A NAPRI that can today attract sufficient quantities of research grants. And these researches should not be shelved. They should not be commercialized. We want a NAPRI that can go into collaborations with its sister organizations all over the world, like the IMPRAPA, like the ARCN of South Africa, like the ones in Morocco, like the ones in Egypt. These are institutions that have quite substantially impacted on the livelihood of livestockers. It's not the quality of your research. That research should be translated into how many lives are you transforming. That is what we are talking about. And that is the way to go. A NAPRI that is today taking a cue from Embrapa in Brazil. A NAPRI that can today turn the Nigerian, the statistics I've given you, into a livestock powerhouse on the African continent. And I know the talents are there. We have charged them. Mr. President is ready. And in fact, there's evidence that is going to give that political support. Ours today is to be part of that wagon to drive the transformation of NAPRI from its vision, from its mission, and then its values. All they will have to change so that they can now squarely face the market.
Okay, Honorable,
connected
yes.
commercially with whatever they are doing.
I like the fact that you are from the system. You know, you're a farmer, you're a livestock person and all that. And your passion sort of tells us the future of the livestock industry in Nigeria. And our viewers would like your response and messages. Some have started coming in so that you'll be able to understand what entails in the livestock industry. I'm going to ask you, I'm just going to read one of the questions for you to respond to. Nandam Weir from Jos said, what are the health hazards of intensively selected livestock breeds? I believe that livestock development also focuses on ensuring the animals are in good health and physical condition before being slaughtered. Why are those responsible in our abattoirs not checking these animals before consumption any longer? He said pesticides and other chemicals negatively affect pasture quality by damaging soil health and plant life, and they reduce milk and meat production by impairing livestock health and reproductive functions and accumulating as toxic residue in animal tissue and products. How best can we curtail this? Thank you for your service and enlightenment. Have a good morning. Can you respond?
Thank you. Well, of course, my brother Gashin Baki will come in. He's a practical person doing an abattoir, but limited at the general level. I think we have missed the point. In the 60s, 70s, and early 80s, we had meat inspectors all over slaughterhouses. Now, somehow along the line, we have lost that will to enforce. And we believe that any meat is good for consumption. Any animal can be slaughtered under any condition. And people tell you that, look, we can overheat the meat and kill the viruses, the parasites, and the diseases. But by the time you do that, you're also killing the nutrients in the meat itself. Precisely this is what you are doing. So what are you eating? Chaff. You mounted, probably put some pieces of meat there, but at the end of an hour or two, you have burnt out everything else. So the question of enforcement is what we're talking about. And this is why today we are waking up the private sector. And you can see the abyss of this world, the CDI of this world. We are waking them up today to get into proper meat processing under control environment of a modern abattoir, where the animal will come to an abattoir with its own health record from a known ranch or feedlot in the issue of traceability. Because number one, if this animal is injected in less than 2 weeks, it's not ready, it's not suitable for slaughter. That withdrawal period would have to be observed. By then, all the chemicals from that injection would have been neutralized and is out of the body. The body condition score, an animal that is emaciated, runny eyes, drooping nose, drooping saliva, looking dull with a dull coat, is a sick animal. It's not suitable for slaughter. So that body condition score with a minimum of fat deposit will have to be there. After the animal is processed in a controlled abattoir environment, meat inspector will also come to take some slices of the internal organs and then go to the laboratory and make sure that it's fit for human consumption, and they can now stamp the approval. This is what happens all over the world. And this is what the ministry today is working with the red sector, with the red meat sector and the state governments to make sure that these are implemented. Abattoirs are supposed to be disease-free areas. Not everybody should go there. The workers in that abattoir will have to go twice in a year for medical examination, so they are free of any communicable diseases. And those abattoirs have cold chain facilities. Now, you have cranes where the animal is lifted. The waste drops into drainages. The blood will go to a blood bank. The feces will go somewhere. You get you debone the animal, and you take the carcass into a cold room facility, and you have your different cuts. That's what we're talking about. Now, I think, again, Mr. Gashibaki will come in. But before he comes in there, somebody talked about pesticides, etc., etc., etc. Now, remember, in pasture cultivation, we don't use pesticides. We don't use pesticides.
Okay, you don't use pesticides.
We don't use pesticides. That's for normal crop cultivation. These are the people that use pesticides. For us here, we do rogging. It's physical rogging. You remove the weeds out of your pasture, and then you get clean 100% Digitaria, Brachiaria, Mavuno, Rusinesis, Stylo, or Napier, or Jintao, whatever grass you plant. You get clean and clear. And these grasses are genetically developed. They are nutrient packed. They are drought resistant, they are pest resistant, and they grow very fast, and they have the biomass. That is pasture for you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The Honorable Minister has prompted you multiple times, but take this along with it. Do we have the relevant equipment? He's talked about deboning. I hope it's not still the same way of using, cutlass or using knives to debone. Do we have the equipment to make this what it should be as a large-scale industry now?
Absolutely, yes. And just to reinforce what the minister said, actually enforcement is critical to all of this. And the good thing is that we have all the regulations and the legislations in place. For example, the Animal Diseases Control Act 2022 has provided a number of things that has to do with dealing with diseases and the processes that need to be followed. Now, at the abattoir of our scale, it's not just the federal regulations that we are also dealing with. There is also the halal compliance certifications. And then the halal compliance certification is not just about the religious ritual component of it, but it's about public health and public safety, essentially. And therefore, the combination of these two, the halal certification, and then of course our regulations and our laws, gives us a clean starting point. In terms of technology also, the underlying technology, today we have the 5th generation technology that we have deployed at Edu. I think we need to invite NTA to go and see for yourself. Even the tiles in the central abattoir is antibacterial, just to reduce contamination and all of that. We'll have a laboratory there. We have testing equipment. We'll have veterinary doctors. So world-class infrastructure that ensures public safety and public health is deployed both in Lagos, which is semi-manual, but the one in Abuja is highly advanced. Like I said, it's 5th generation technology, because what we have currently here is about the best anywhere you can find in the world.
But is that sufficient, though? Lagos
Now,
and Abuja?
Now, what is also in the grand scheme of things, we want to create a national grid of processing plants around the country. We are already engaging subnationals. Like I said, with what we have seen in Qatar, we have made $50 million investment, real time, verifiable, on ground, Lagos and Abuja. We have committed further additional $100 million in the next 5 years to see that we have at least maybe 5 other locations, adding to these 2 that we have, making 7. So which means the aspiration is to ensure that we have at least in each political zone, geopolitical zone. All the processing facilities will now be connected together. The one in Abuja will be the central clearing house. And the idea is to see that we have sufficient processed products that will go to the eastern corridor and that will go to the western corridor, since the feedstock is coming largely from the northern part of Nigeria. Now, in addition to all of this, the abattoir is almost zero waste. For example, the blood is it's used for animal feeds, and we have a way of where it is completely taken out, it's not wasted. The same thing with the feces. It goes into the digester, it produces biogas that we use to power the plant, and then of course what is left is organic manure. Then even the bones, we have instruments for extracting the bone marrow itself. And then of course the bones will be used for other things. The bone marrow is essential for pharmaceutical uses and all of that. The skin, of course we have a dehyder in the factory that gives you almost 99% class of hides grade that you need to have. No spots, no holes, because it just removes it in seconds. It's off, and there's no tear, no breakages. All these things that you hear about Moroccan leather, Italian leather, it's actually something that we are inspired by what the minister and El Press are doing. The idea is to reverse it. There's nothing like Moroccan leather, because they are just buying unprocessed leather from Nigeria and then processing it in Morocco or in Italy to give it first grade leather for Gucci and all of that. So essentially, I think we have a clear pathway and an encouraging leadership that is making us to commit further into investing into the sector. And I'm sure if this kind of inspiration, it's no longer an inspiration, it's a reality, because we are on ground, we are doing it. I believe more serious players will join with the trajectory that we have now found.
Indeed, more serious players will join. Listening to you now, I wish I have money to, to do that, yes. Because when you look at the potentials in the livestock industry, I remember when we were growing up, there were tanning industry across Kano, in Maiduguri. You go to the warehouse, you see a lot of, cow hide. They are being exported all the way to Central Africa, to Italy and all that. And the byproducts that come back into Nigeria, it's quite expensive. We buy it very expensive. Imagine what will happen if we do it back home here. Let's bring the El Press back into this conversation. What are the specific supports El Press, is giving or providing to farmers, to link them to markets, to be able to make money from what they have?
Okay, excellent. So market linkage is also one of the subcomponents of El Press project. And it's clear all these activities that we do across the sedentarized pasture pilot scheme, model veterinary hospitals, and the markets are linked together. For instance, the clusters we service at the Sedentary Pasture Pilot Scheme, we service them through the model veterinary hospitals. Then also we have extension service officers, facilitators at the clusters. We believe the extension facilitators should come from the clusters so that they can relay the information clearly. And what we do clearly is working with big-time commercial companies and commercial farmers like Abyss now. We work with Abyss in the beef value chain. We have clusters that are into fattening and those that are into feedlotting and co. It's just for us to link them up with Abyss. Then we have that in dairy sector also. We have a lot of big-time players in dairy sectors, and we have those that are supplying the milk to the factories. We have in Sebore, we have in L&Z, we have in a lot of clear big-time players. What we do, we support those farmers with input support. We also support the big-time players through the DPN so that at least they can improve their business.
Who are the big-time players?
The big-time players in different sectors.
Okay.
For instance, let me talk of dairy. We have Sebore farms, they are into dairy. We have L&Z, we have IDL in Jos, and we have a lot of them. We have country yogurt in Bauchi. We work with all of them. Then if you come to the issue of beef, we have Abyss Group here, we have CDI, and we have a lot of them also that are into beef sector that we try to create market for our farmers through this linkage by also directly supporting the farmers with input. What do they need? This is the kind of issues they need. Then the big time players, we support them through linking them with access to finance companies that will support their business. In so doing, we are both supporting the big time players and the livestock farmers.
We've talked a lot about the farmers, you know, profit making, business. What's in all of these for the ordinary Nigerian consumer? Are they guaranteed cheaper livestock? Is it better livestock, better quality? What exactly is in it?
Okay, so the project development objective of this project is to improve productivity, commercialization, and resilience of livestock value chain. So in so doing, if you are supporting the livestock farmer, if they are improving their productivity and commercialization, certainly it will trickle down to ordinary.
In what way?
In what way? In reduced cost of products, then also in economic activities across what is happening. For instance, if you are supporting an ordinary livestock farmer to support his business, certainly the economic condition of the area will improve. And in that, it will also trickle down to the ordinary Nigerians. I don't want to say ordinary Nigerians who are not into the livestock farming.
They will be eating healthy food
then
and
they
all
also
that.
the economic
Okay,
condition.
we have a lot of questions that came in and we're still expecting more from our viewers watching us, but we'll take a break right now. When we return, the conversation will continue. Don't go away.
No, perhaps we take responses.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the kind words coming from there, and also the areas they want us to throw in more light. Regarding grazing reserves and cattle routes, yes, cattle routes are old-fashioned. However, legally, they are still there. In reality, many of the routes have disappeared because of urbanization. It's very, very aggressive. Infrastructure, demand for land for infrastructure. I tell people that 70 years ago, Abuja was not there. It was a game place. A lot of wild animals, wild lions, and people were grazing here freely. Today it's no longer available. And it goes so with so many other cities all over the country. 70 years ago, many of the state capitals we have today were no more just mere towns. And they don't grow on air, they grow on land. Demand for infrastructure. 70 years ago, how many universities were in the country? How many universities are there today? They are not built in the air. They request, demand for infrastructure, both for agriculture, large farms, large dams, express roads, airports, so many things. Yes, the animals are still there. They still have to also be on land. So therefore, grazing routes, cattle routes probably, yes. And this is the reason why we are saying that we want these cattle to be, animals to be sedentarized. Grazing reserves actually do not belong to the federal government, they belong to the state governments. They are gazetted at the state level. And we are working with the state government to make sure that the model we describe here today are realized. However, not all animals can be there. Those who want to go into ranching can also apply to state governments to get land. Like I did in 2004 in Kaduna State. I applied for land. Today I have 110 hectares of land on which my ranch is sitting. Very friendly, business-friendly government in Kaduna State, right from then till now. A lot of services, also from the state governments. And many state governments today are willing to also allocate large parcels of land to those who want to go into ranching, not necessarily in the grazing reserves. But we are talking about the grazing reserves because they have been so gazetted right from before the independence. And they are still there under the law, covered by law. Excuse me, and this is the reason why we are saying that we need to develop those models there. But those who want to be in ranching can actually do that. I agree, totally agree with you. Nobody said that livestock is about one tribe or the other. It's a business. Who does broadcasting in this country? It's a business. If you run your numbers, you want to go into beef production, we assist you. We talk to you, we listen to your business. We advise you. We do the handholding, we regulate. This is what is happening. If you want to go into piggery, we assist you. You want to go into ranching, we assist you. We've been working with Abyss. And we're going to also work with them in terms of backward integration. And that's why even El Press talked about this feed lotting. The feed lotting is good. Let's take the numbers. Abyss said here that they're going to process 1,000 bulls per day. Time is 365 days. Where are you going to get those bulls? These are not bulls that you bring from the bush. We gave you the condition. In terms of breed type, it's important. In terms of health management, it's important. And these are not bulls that today we have to wait for 6-7 years before they hit 400 kg. These are bulls because of their genetics, because of the management, because of the health coverage. At 30 months, they are hitting 600 kg. These are the bulls we are looking at. At 30 months, they are hitting 600 kg. Not the ones that we have today, that at 7 years, they are still 400 kg. So this is what we are looking at. So the ministry is going to now transform the sector to make sure that our animal carcass weight, the slaughter weight, is reduced from 4 years to 30 months. And then the carcass weight is also that much that I have given you. We are also looking at dairy production from 2 to 3 liters per day per cow. We want to leapfrog the sector to 15, 20, 30, 40 liters per cow per day. That can only happen with genetics, with good animal husbandry. And that's why the animal scientists come. Your role here is to improve on the animal husbandry system today in the country, to move it from where we are to where we want to be. That's what we are looking at. We are looking at survivability of the animals. This is what we are looking at. So it's a whole gamut, it's the whole ecosystem that we are going to transform.
All right. Now, Professor Nyerude had a question for El Press.
Yes,
He
yes.
also talked about animal husbandry.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. It's clear because I said earlier, animal husbandry aspects are done at the states because it's an SLA project. That means subsidiary loan agreements. State sign for subsidiary loan agreement. So most of component 2, that is livestock value chain enhancement, 100% is at the state. It's about 195 million US dollars. So it's a huge activities. The activities, animal husbandry activities, the sedentarized, 100% is at the state. The wet markets, the extension services, the provision of water, pasture, all this is at the state level. Animal health is handled at the national because we are not just handling for 20 states. Disease has no boundary, so we handle for the 36 states and FCT. For instance, we provide vaccine support to the states. As I speak presently, yesterday we delivered Benue, Nasarawa, and we delivered Cross River this morning, and we are delivering Gombe presently.
Are all the states on board?
all the states. But these two states are not even in El-Pres, Nasarawa and Benue. But we have to deliver vaccine end to end to them for the vaccination. So the essence is that most of animal scientists aspect or animal husbandry aspect is at the state. So there are a lot of activities done at the state: provision of water, provision of pasture, market, abattoirs. All of these are animal production. But the animal health aspect, because it involves 36 states plus FCT, we handle it from the national, and we also collaborate with the states in the remodeling of their veterinary clinics and veterinary hospitals.
All
So
right,
that is us.
let's take some more messages. Now, this one is from Mohammed Isa in Kotokarfe, Kogi State. Nigeria's livestock sector in 2026 shows strong potential, driven by increased government attention, a growing population, and rising demand for animal protein. However, progress is still limited by poor infrastructure, low productivity, climate change, insecurity, and farmer-herder conflicts. Now, with improved policy implementation, he says, modern ranching, and better access to finance and veterinary services, the livestock sector could significantly contribute to food security, employment, and economic growth. I think that's basically agreeing with the Honorable Minister. And this one reads, good morning, NTA. I'm chatting from Ondo State, Ilaja local government. We have no ideas for livestock you are talking about, and we have more than enough land to be part of it. What is the starting point? He's asking. That's from Tunde Mokoya from Ondo State. This one is from Ahmed Babadikwa from Maiduguri. Livestock improvement in Nigeria holds significant potential for enhancing food security, farmer livelihoods, and economic growth. While promising initiatives in genetics, feed quality, and healthcare exist, progress is often hindered by challenges like limited access to funding, inconsistent extension services, and infrastructure gaps. A sustained integrated approach combining modern technology with robust support systems is crucial for unlocking this critical sector's full potential. And this one reads, good morning, panel members, especially the Honorable Minister. I'm Abbas Abubakar Saad from Jalingo in Taraba State. The creation of the Ministry of Livestock Development is one of the good initiatives of this administration, and I'm very happy with the leadership of the ministry because the Honorable Minister is performing extremely well. However, my question is, why are some states taking so long to create this ministry to complement the efforts of the federal government? Okay. This one, every state has a designated grazing reserve. The Honorable Minister should please shed light on why herders abandon all year-round green grazing reserves in Northwest and Northeast to invade farms in North Central. And how is his ministry working on curtailing such incidents when the farming season commences this year? That's from Oche Garba. I have two more to go. Good morning, Nigerians. Livestock Minister has been trying, but I think he still needs to do more. My question is, what is he doing to collaborate with the state government to ensure efficiency in livestock, especially in the area of abattoir? Because in some areas, if you visit their abattoirs, you will see that they are in sorry state. Okay, this is from Mohammed from Okene in Kogi State. And what are you doing to revive livestock farming in areas worst hit by banditry like Zamfara and its neighboring states? And finally, from Habiba in Abuja, I heard you say a private company is opening an abattoir in Abuja where they will slaughter 1,000 cows in one day. Where will he get his supply? Can Nigerian farmers sustain this demand? So, a lot of questions.
A lot of questions. Very, very interesting. And that really shows that people are following, and not just this program, but of course the activities of this government and the Europe agenda, particularly with livestock. And generally, I think, let's not miss the point. Livestock is a private business. Let me repeat. Livestock is a private business. The government has no intention itself to get directly involved. We are here to create the necessary, the enabling environment for people like ABIS, like CDI, like IDL, like Ala, like Sare Kosam in Yola, like Zaidi Farms in Kaduna. I mean, to play around, to get the niche, to create a niche for themselves. We are 235 million Nigerians and still counting. We need milk. We need fresh milk. We need good quality beef cuts. We need good eggs. We need leather works. We need employment. Let me repeat this. Livestock is the only sector that you harvest every day. If you plant crops, you have to wait for minimum 50, 60 days, 6 months down the line. It's only livestock today you can get an egg every day. Every day you can milk a cow, you can milk a goat, you can milk a camel. Every day you have leather works, hide and skin. You can harvest your pasture, you can pelletize, you can do all these things. We have the internal market, the largest market in Africa, the 5th largest livestock population in Africa. So the mix cannot be better. And the whole idea today is not that government will do this, government will do that. No, we are here to work with the private sector. The private sector doesn't mean you have to have an abattoir like Abyss 1,000 animals per day. Come, start, get a couple of goats, get a cockerel and 5 hens, get 1 goat, 1 buck and 45 does. Get a good number of heifers and do artificial insemination. You are on the way. We will work with you. We will assist you. We will guide you. We will link you up with the market. This is what the ministry is about today. But we want Nigerians to wake up to this reality, that today we have this mouth to feed, and we cannot wait for this thing to come from outside this country. There is no security of supply. We are exporting our jobs. We are spending $1.5 billion to buy dairy and dairy products into this country. This has to stop on a gradual basis. This is what the ministry is talking about. We want to work with people to get into dairy. We want to work with people to get into animal production. I just made an illustration that today with all what we are doing in the ministry, including our parastatals, NVRI, NAPRI, LPRES, and the private sector, we want to double the size of the Nigerian herd in terms of number, also in terms of quality. That's what we're talking about. By the time Abyss is slaughtering 1,000 bulls per day, we need to have hundreds of thousands, at least millions, hundreds of youths, men and women, to get into feedlotting. Look for these young heifers, young bull calves, bring them into the fattening area, fatten them. You need somebody to produce the pasture, you need somebody to do the health services, you need somebody to do the movement of these animals. If they are coming from Maiduguri, if they are coming from Sokoto, once they come here, they have to be on the lineage to stabilize them. You show them, you play music. They get settled because it's a continuous movement. Abyss is producing, the abattoirs are producing, you are packaging the meat under cold chain, and you are transporting it out of this country or into the market areas. The abattoirs, the supermarkets, the groceries, all over. Very soon, with Abyss and all these pictures he has described, in the not too distant future, the ministry will work with state governments and other players, stakeholders, to stop trade in live animals. They come under unhygienic conditions. You are transporting animal from Baga to Lagos to slaughter it. When it gets to Lagos, nobody swallows an animal. You still have to butcher it. So why don't we do the butchering at that point of fattening and then transport the meat? This is what happens all over the country, all over the world.
Yes.
So the way we are going to create jobs. And let me say this one point. Why is today 1 kilogram of meat expensive? It's simply because we only get value from the red meat. The others that Abyss described, we call it as waste. There is no waste in the animal kingdom.
Okay.
If you get money from blood, from hoofs, from the horns, from the marrow, from the bones, from the hide, and from the feces, the solid waste. So you are getting value from all this. But as of today, we only get value from the red meat. These others, nobody bothers about them. By the time we start to realize value, drive value from these other byproducts that I've mentioned.
drive down
Or
the
should
cost.
drive down the cost of red meat.
Yeah.
This is what the minister is talking about. This is what this president is preaching today.
Yes, and as your ministry contributes, to the economy of this country, our target is the international market. You talked about, all that. So, about byproducts that we need to make money from. But is the quality of our meat or byproducts on global standards at par with other countries?
Yeah, thank you. This is the reason why we are driving this reorganization and certification, as Mr. Gashimbaki said. You cannot, even in this country today, every abattoir needs to be certified, whether for local consumption or for export. We need to assure ourselves that, look, the meat we are giving, we are selling, the cows that we are processing are of international standard. We first have to aim to satisfy our own public health requirements and standards. And that should be at par with the national standard. This is what we deserve, no less. We deserve no less. Once we achieve that, of course, export is a question of moving it across the border. It can go to Niger, it can go to Benin Republic, it can go to Cameroon, it can go to, Middle East, it can go to anywhere. But first and foremost, the condition of the slaughterhouses in this country are unacceptable. And we are working with the state government, we are working with the private sector to make sure that these abattoirs are built to international standard. We certify them. If only when you want to go outside, then you get people outside to come and certify. So yes, the Nigerian premium cuts are as good as any other international market. Then we can assess that market. But that is our ultimate aim.
All right. Now, some of the questions were also directed at the private sector. Perhaps you could take a minute to respond.
Okay. Well, I think the private sector, we are ready, and we'll continue to focus on scaling up the investment that we have already made.
And you can sustain getting 1,000 cows a day.
Yes. So let me highlight 3 key areas. Number one area, because our business model is contingent on having reliable feedstock. And if you have been listening to what the minister has been saying and what El Press is doing real on ground, they are trying to take that burden off us. Because imagine after this huge investment, we are now also worried with investing at that level. So we'll do backward integration to ensure that what they are doing at subnationals feeds into the factory. That's one. The second aspect that I want to also highlight quickly is that if you have also been listening to all the opportunities that have been explained here, you realize that there is one major area that is outside the scope of the Ministry of Livestock Development, which is catalyzing funding. Yes, they can facilitate it, but we think it is important that the Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank come to the rescue of the Ministry of Livestock Development at this stage, because we would want to see to mobilize domestic funding to catalyze our investment further. And the current interest rate is not that favorable.
All right, Dr. Sanusi.
Yeah.
Let's project to the end, to the end of 2026. Where do you see the livestock sector?
Thank you very much.
In 30 seconds.
We want to see the livestock sector commercialized, fully commercialized, as the Honorable Minister rightly said. It's a private sector initiative, and also we want to see a lot of investment in the infrastructure. We are doing the infrastructure now, but we want to operationalize it so for the benefit of the livestock.
Honorable Minister, your last word. What must go right or what must not go wrong for the livestock sector to succeed?
In 30 seconds.
In 10 seconds, fellow Nigerians, wake up, wise up, and move up to the livestock sector. It is coming with multidimensional prosperity for everybody in this country. We are here, we mean business, we'll work with you to transform this sector. Nigeria is going to offer solutions. Nigerians will work out the solutions for Nigerians' prosperity.
Okay. Idi Mukhtar Meha, Honorable Minister of Livestock Development, thank you so much as usual for coming to enlighten us on what's happening in the livestock sector. We appreciate you as always. Dr. Sanusi Abubakar, National Coordinator, Livestock Productivity and Resilience Support Project, LPRES. We appreciate you coming and giving us your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Ilyasu Gashimbaki, co-founder, Abyss Group, Abuja Studio. We thank you so much for coming. And we'd like to know where the abattoir will be situated.
Idu.
Idu, okay.
Yes.
That
Not will be, it's situated.
It's situated there. Okay, thank you so much.
I'd like to see what you do there, really.
Yes, thank you so much.
NTA,
we appreciate your time and we hope to see you soon so that we can talk about this more again. Thank you so much. And that's Good Morning Nigeria for today. We hope you've been, informed and educated on how the livestock sector is rolling out initiatives and making sure that Nigerians key into that sector. I am Jumma Yusuf. Thanks for watching.
And I'm Victor Azu. Enjoy your day.